What's up, gang? Hey man, in this video I'm gonna talk about Shannon Sharpe's situation, and I'm gonna talk about the importance of caring less about women. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Also hit that like button if you like the video, and make sure you watch this video to the very end because I got a bunch of gold nuggets in this one. And oh yeah, and if you ain't in the CLG community, bro, jump in while you still can, because April is coming to an end. Meaning after April ends, the price is $48 a month. It's $24 a month now. If you jump in now, you grandfathered in for as long as you want to stay in. It's always gonna stay $24 a month every month until you decide to get out. But if you try to jump in afterwards, we at 48 and we staying there. So without further ado, we jumping into the video. Alright, so I'm gonna address this Shannon Sharpe thing that's been going on. Shannon Sharpe is being sued for $50 million by some, I guess she's an OnlyFans chick. I actually don't know a lot of details about the girl and stuff like that. You know, I haven't looked into it that deep, but I am gonna get my 2 cents on it because it's very important. You feel me? Especially when it comes to men turning down their care with the chick, the importance of turning down your care with the chick, and how it can protect you in the long run when you're dealing with chicks, whether you have money or you don't have money, right? Because at the end of the day, if people know that you have money, you lead with money. And just because you have money, that doesn't mean that you truly understand female nature. You can still be played by a woman in the long run. So I'm going to give a full breakdown of this. I'm going to tell you, after we watch this, I'm going to tell you my thoughts on it, and I'm going to tell you how you can protect yourself from stuff like this. This video going to have a whole bunch of gold nuggets. So I'm going to watch the video right now.
To my family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I would myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup, coordinated by Gabby, also known as Carly on OnlyFans. Gabby and Tony Busby want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down. My career is all about real talk and honesty. I know my family and fans know exactly what this is about. And I'm going to be out there telling you whatever I need to say, just like I always do. I love all you guys. Thanks.
So that was that. So I'm gonna give you guys a little story that happened to me, just so you guys understand where I'm coming from. And you know, when I tell you that this woman is purely evil, when I break it down, you gonna understand why, right? So I'm gonna give you a little story what happened to me. So I started working at a car dealership, right? I was already a superstar. You know, I worked at I left my first car dealership after 2 years. I went to a Mercedes-Benz dealership. I even learned how to be better, right? Because Mercedes-Benz is harder to sell than Toyota. I got better. Then I went through a little mental health thing, trying to be a vegan, stuff like that. So I took a break from everything, right? I just said, fuck selling cars. I had enough money saved up. I was able to just chill. While I was chilling a few months later, because I had a bunch of money saved up, I can live off my savings and stuff. While I was chilling, just living life, you know what I mean? One of my old co-workers hit me up, and he was applying for the GM position at this dealership, but he became the GSM because they gave it to somebody else. So he was like, man, he said, man, this dealership, it ain't doing too good. We really need you out here. Now, remind you now, this dealership was in the middle of nowhere, Minnesota. You know what I mean? So the people there were naturally a little bit more racist, if that makes any sense. They was just naturally, you know what I mean? The name of the place was Coon Rapids. You get what I'm trying to say? So so he had me in this little area, and he's like, man, I just need you. I need a superstar. He said these guys can't sell. You know, they losing deals left and right. I need somebody to come in here and show these guys how to sell. So I told him, I was like, I wasn't looking to jump back into the car business. I'm still handling some stuff, but I said, how about I go up there and I see what the pay plan look like. So I drive up there, like an hour or something drive. It's far. You know, I'm living in the city, Minneapolis area. So every day when I finally did work there, I had to drive there an hour each way. It was all the way. It was all the way out the way for me. So because I had to drive an hour, because it was a smaller dealership, all of this stuff like that. They had a nice dealership, but they had all this stuff, you know. I met with the owner, well, not the owner, it was the owner's wife. So the owner too busy playing golf somewhere, but he had a younger hot wife who used to think she was running some stuff, but she just used to show up and just be cute, basically. So I met her, and then I met the GM. GM used to be the GM of a Harley Davidson place. He brought one of his Harley Davidson guys in to be one of the managers, stuff like that, you know what I mean? And when I first met the GM, I knew he was a little racist, but he was somebody I could deal with, you know what I mean? Like I said, he was a GM of a Harley Davidson dealership, so you already know the type of character this kind of guy is, you know what I mean? But I said, you know what, I can deal with it. But then I said, but I do got to drive an hour, I do got to do this. I said, so how about this? I said, the pay plan that you got, it's alright, but it ain't ideal, like, you know what I mean? I said, all I'm asking for is I have my own schedule. I'm gonna produce. I already know I'm gonna produce. I said, I just want my own schedule. I can come in, I can leave whenever I feel like it. And then I said, I want to be paid per car. You feel me? Like I said, I don't want commission, I don't want nothing like that, but every unit that I sell, I want a certain amount, right? And I want it to be at least 300 something. So like, cause they had like a hourly plan and they had some bullshit. I'm just like, nah. I said, I don't want $1. I said, I don't want no money up front. I don't want no hourly pay. I don't want no salary. All I want is to get paid for the units that I move. So I said, whatever you feel is right. You know, I said, I'm used to somewhere between $300 per unit. You know what I mean? I said, but since I know I'm gonna come in here and make some things happen, you know what I mean, probably 325, 330. I forgot it was somewhere in the threes. It was like probably 350 or something like that. And I came out there and I was a rock star. I'm talking about first couple months. I'm like, I'm the #1 guy. You know, I'm breaking records there. I think one of my biggest months I sold like 33 or 35 cars or something like that. I don't know the exact number. But because I came in there and from month 1, I was the #1 guy and I was just consistently putting pressure on those guys, it came with a lot of hate. So not only did the salespeople there hate me, and they was talking mess behind my back, but we had this HR lady, and it was only one HR lady because they was a smaller dealership. So before I got there, they wasn't moving that much units. After I was there, they was moving a bunch of units. We was taking market share from other dealerships. I was selling people cars. They was dealing with me, and they said, man, I'm gonna send you my friend because he got a local Toyota dealership, but he got to drive like 2 hours, but he gonna come to you. People was coming to me. They was driving 2 hours to get to me. They was driving. I mean, I had people asking for me all the time at that place. So what happened was the dealership was growing so fast that we started taking market share from other dealerships. Like they ain't never had this many units. So this is stuff I was kind of bringing to the place. And the lady started seeing, you know, she started seeing my checks, the HR lady. And my boy was the GSM, so my boy would tell me the hearsay. He'd be like, man, a lot of people hate you here, man. He said, keep it low, you know what I mean? But the HR lady, because they had meetings with the managers, he said the HR lady complaining about you, talking about why is this little punk kid making 12 to 15K a month? Like, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Like they just was sneak dissing and stuff. So he was just like, I'm just letting you know, just, you know, keep doing your thing, because you bringing, Toyota's allocating us a lot of cars based off of the volume that you're bringing us. But just understand, a lot of people, they ain't really feeling you. So I say, man, I'm cool with that, bro. I've been hating my whole life. I don't care. You feel me? So I'm still doing my thing. And then I started noticing they started messing with me. You know, at first when I had my own schedule, they ain't say nothing. Then the HR lady would be like, you need to start clocking in. Why don't you clock in? And I was like, well, I got my own schedule. What makes you so special that you can have your own schedule? I'm like, you need to take that up with the GM. I say, because we already agreed upon all this stuff. Why I gotta clock in? So she take it up with the GM. She'll convince the GM. The GM is like, yeah, CJ, man, we gotta start having you clock in, man. We gotta start having you clock in. I said, okay. I said, I'm cool with that as long as I got my own schedule. I'll clock in as long as I got my own schedule. And he just like, no, you still gonna have your own schedule, but she tripping and this and this. And I was like, all right, that's cool. So then I started clocking in. Then she'll come in and say, why isn't your name on the clock in sheet or whatever the case is? And I'm, you know me, I'm still trying to be professional because I'm at work. So I'm like, all right, if it's not one thing, it's another. I said, okay. I said, what's going on with this clock in thing with my name? I gotta write my own name on it or whatever. I said, I thought they came with our name on it. And she could tell what cubby she pulling it from to know where the clock in sheet is at. You know what I mean? And they say, nah, man, just start writing your name on it, man. You know, just forget her. You feel me? Start writing my name on it. Come to find out, she ain't pay me one week. Everybody got their check on Friday. I didn't get mine. I didn't get my direct deposit. So, you feel me? So I called one of the homegirls that I was at the dealership with, and I was like, hey man, what's going on? I said, hey man, did you get paid? She's like, yeah, I got paid. And I was just like, oh, all right. I say, damn, maybe they just missed my pay. So I called the dealership because I was off that day. You feel me? And I took my day off. So I called the dealership. I say, hey man, what's up with my pay? And they say, oh, I don't know. You should have got paid. I said, nah, man, I ain't get paid. He said, oh, let me talk to the HR lady. Talk to the HR lady. She said, yeah, I didn't pay him because his name wasn't on his cubby. So she just making up shit to fuck with me, right? Man, I called. I said, transfer my call to the HR lady. I say, cause she been fucking with me since I said, transfer my call to the HR lady. I talked to that lady on the phone. I said, I don't know what your problem is with me, ma'am, but I said, ever since I've been here, and I never used one cuss word. I said, ever since I've been here, you've been messing with me, and now you trying to mess with my pay. That's where it go too far with me. You know what I mean? I let you get away and talk your mess and do what you had to do, but when it came to my pay, now you pushing it too far. And she started crying. Old Karen Rat, they said, oh, I'm gonna call somebody in here to listen to the way you're talking to me. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this bitch? So she called in my used car manager. And I said, I ain't gonna say my used car manager name, but I said, hey, I don't know why she crying and doing all these waterworks and all this stuff like that. I said, but since I've been at that dealership, this lady has been messing with me. And I let it slide. I let it slide. I say, what she's doing to me is dead wrong. Now she decided not to pay me. Now she's messing with my money because she said he didn't have his name on his cubby. And even my manager's like, aren't the names already on the cubby? She was like, well, I guess his was missing. She's like, but don't you? My manager was taking my side. And this the used car manager. This not even my friend. It's just one of the managers that's there. He taking my side. He like, what you mean is missing? Like, he was like, but you know where his cubby at, right? She was like, well, I can't pay him if he doesn't follow my rules and blah 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 and da da da. And then he just like, all right, CJ, man, we gonna get you paid. Just chill out. We'll see you Saturday, because we work on Saturdays too. I was like, all right, cool. I thought it was all cool, right? Come to find out, she ran down to the GM, the dude from Harley Davidson. She called him crying. I go in Saturday, they pulled me into the office. The GM pulled me into the office. Hey man, I just want to let you know, man, I really love you here. You did really great things for our dealership, but you got a lot of people here that want to put a bullet in your head. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It's a lot of people, you rub them the wrong way. And I'm sitting here and it's all throwing me off guard. And I'm like, what you talking about? I was like, bro, all I did was come here, perform, produce. You know what I mean? I leave on time. He said, yeah, but you know what I mean? He said, we agreed on a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? And we just don't want to do it no more. You know what I mean? We don't want you to have your own schedule. You know what I mean? We don't want to pay you per car. We don't want to do none of this stuff no more. So, and the HR lady, she feels like you're disrespecting her and you made her cry. That's what he said. He said, you made the HR lady cry. So because of that, we're going to have to part ways. So I got fired, right? So I'm like, really? It's like that for real? He was like, yeah, it's like that for real, man. It's just a lot of people here that just don't like you and stuff like that. And you got to understand, the HR lady, the one who caused it. But then when I'm leaving, because I dapped everybody up, because I was cool with a lot of the salespeople there. You feel me? So when I'm leaving, I'm dapping people up. I say, hey, man, they firing me, whatever the case is. They like, nigga, they firing you. Like, people were still calling me, hitting me up, all kinds of stuff. You feel me? Like, just like, dang, bro, like this crazy. I'm like, nah. So I dapped everybody up. And the boy he brought in from the Harley Davidson place. So it's him. He brought that person in. And then you got this little HR lady. So as I'm leaving, they in the office, they left the door open on accident. And the guy that was acting like he was my boy, like the guy he brought in from the Harley Davidson, he was like, oh, I'm glad that little punk is out of here and da-da-da. And when I tell you these niggas look like how they look, like Harley Davidson guys, like the guy that he brought in that I'm talking about had one of those mustaches that didn't connect at the bottom. It looked like a handlebar, had a big old belly, like he looked like a biker. Like, you know what I mean? He looked like one of them racist ass biker type motherfuckers. So I was just like, damn. So even my GSM was like, because they did it when my GSM was off. He was off that Saturday. So when my GSM came back, he couldn't believe what happened. So he like, what? He's like, bro, CJ was the best thing we had here. He was like, bro, did you see the market share? Did you see this? He was like, yeah, we just don't need him no more. I think it was more so me than it was CJ. Me, the way I was running the place. Man, I'm gonna fast forward to the end. I'm gonna come back to it. That GM ended up getting fired because as soon as they fired me, less than a couple months later, the dealership numbers plummeted. They wasn't able to keep up with all that inventory. They got all that inventory in. They wasn't able to move it. The other salespeople sucked. They had to fire the GM of that place. My GSM ended up leaving because he was like, why would you fire a superstar over something that an HR lady said? And the used car manager came in and told him while I was in the office, he sat down, he called in the used car manager because she wanted a third party. And the used car manager's like, bro, I listened to the whole call. CJ didn't say one cuss word. He didn't even really raise his voice. He just was irate because he felt like she was picking at him. So he really expressed, but even the one that was the third party, he said CJ wasn't what she said it was. The guy still ignored him and said, no, we just gonna part ways with him. You know what I mean? We're not gonna go back and forth, right? So I ended up getting fired from the spot. So me, I'm like, damn, this is blatant racism. Like for real, like at the end of the day, I'm like, bro, I came in, I didn't do nothing but perform, whatever the case is. So I started calling a bunch of lawyers and I was trying to figure out if I had a case. And every single lawyer, you know what they told me? They said, how much evidence do you have? I was like, I don't know. I just got fired like a week ago. There's like, were you keeping tracks on racial things that they said? Do you have a time book? Do you have stuff written out? Do you have memory of when they said things that was racist? You mentioned that he said he'll put a bullet in your head, all this stuff like that. He said, do you got evidence? Do you got video? Do you got pictures? I was like, nah. I said, I wasn't expecting to be fired. I don't really got that stuff. And they was like, unfortunately, we can't help you. You know what I mean? They say, if you want to come with like a case or try to sue, there's like, yes, it is a dealership. We would love to take the case, but if you don't have a bunch of evidence, we can't take you. And everybody said that. And I remember when I got older, I had a lawyer friend, and I told him the story. He was just like, yeah, you had a case, but the thing is, you didn't have a bunch of evidence. Like, you wasn't tracking evidence on the whole time. I said, bro, I wasn't expecting to get fired. He was like, yeah, I know, but he's like, that's just how the world is, man. If you don't got a bunch of evidence, ain't no lawyer gonna take it. So I was like, all right, bet. And come full circle, I remember I was watching a Charleston White interview. Charleston White talked about how he sued all these companies and he always won. But Charleston White said as soon as he came to the company to sue. So he just would take notes about everything they was doing wrong. He'll take notes about sexual harassment. He'll take notes about everything. And he won every single lawsuit for every single company that he went to because he was premeditated. Charleston White, if you watch his own interview, he said, I never went to a company to work. I went to a company to sue. You get what I'm trying to say? Now, why has this come all full circle? Because in order for a lawyer to even look at your case, which this chick brought this case on, Shannon Sharpe, it would have had to be premeditated for her to even have enough evidence to provide to that lawyer. See, me, I didn't have no evidence. It wasn't premeditated. I came there to work, do my goddamn job. I wasn't expecting to be fired. I wasn't expecting these niggas to be racist. I wasn't expecting to pick up all the racist shit they would say, stuff that I would overhear. Like when they thought I wasn't listening, this little black punk coming in here thinking he the shit. I used to hear all that motherfucking shit. But I wasn't there for that. I was there to sell cars. And I was doing my job. And it's one of the reasons why I wanted my own schedule. I just wanted to get in, sell a bunch of cars, and get the fuck on home. I wasn't trying to get into the politics and shit like that. I'm not a political ass nigga like that. But that's what the fuck ended up happening. And another thing too is the chick there was the reason that I even got fired anyways. Cause she was sitting here lying. Even my used car manager, he still called me after that fact. He said, bro, that was so messed up what she did. He said she called me to the office crying, and I'm over here thinking that you would be cussing her out and stuff like that. Like she called him into the office, and I'm talking to her calm. That's the crazy part. You feel me? But what was happening, she was fucking with me. She was expecting to get some kind of reaction with me, and then she played victim. She want to cry. She want to play victim as if I'm the big bad wolf. But what really what happening was she saw this young black kid making more than probably her, not knowing how hard it is to sell cars because she probably never sold a car in her life. So she think I'm just coming here, this shit easy. Like she think because I make it look easy. But she don't know that motherfuckers calling me on my off day talking about my cousin's coming your way. He driving 3 hours. He only want to see you. She don't know that this because I'm treating my clients so well. She don't know that motherfuckers is driving past a local dealership to come holler at me. That's the reason why we getting this goddamn share. She don't know. She don't know the rest of them lazy ass salespeople out there. Motherfuckers, they losing deals. I'm watching them lose deals. I'm watching them walk out. And I'm like, damn, I could have sold that motherfucker. I overhear the conversation. I be like, damn, that motherfucker's ready to buy. You know what I mean? I'm watching the customers work. I'm like, damn, these niggas do suck for real. You know what I mean? And then some of the salespeople that was hungry and they was actually trying to get on my level, they'll ask me questions and I'll teach them how to sell shit, and then their numbers will jump up. So I'm helping the whole motherfucking dealership. But no, they don't see that. They see a little black kid making money, and it just didn't sit right with them. So they couldn't get past their motherfucking ego. She couldn't get past her little motherfucker. And she's an old, Karen ass white bitch. You feel me? So that's what ended up happening in that situation. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is what this girl's doing to Shannon Sharpe, what this nasty ass lawyer is doing, it is extortion, but, and I'm not trying to blame Shannon Sharpe because a lot of guys, just because they got money, that don't mean that they truly understand female nature, right? But I'll tell you one thing, for the people that's in the CLG and the people like myself, it'll be very hard for a woman to build a case against me because a lot of the women that I'm hooking up with, they always texting me to see me again. Like literally, I just got some text messages today. Girl talking about, when am I gonna see you, baby? I haven't seen you in forever. I miss you inside of me. These are the texts that I'm getting. So how you gonna build a case if you begging to see me? If you talking crazy, talking about oh, I can't wait to swallow your kids. You feel me? You don't see me for a couple days. I missed you. Where you been? You get what I'm trying to say? See, but what happened was this chick, she came in, she would have had to come in premeditated in order to provide this lawyer with enough evidence in order to even pursue Shannon Sharpe in the first place. She would have already had to screenshot shit, put shit aside, you know what I mean? She would have already had to be on that type of time in order to even have enough evidence for a lawyer to take the case in the first place. And another thing about lawyers in particularly, I ran across an old white man. He used to own a law firm. He used to be the owner of a law firm. And he told me from his own words, me and him chopping it up, he said, you know, he said CJ, you will never guess this, but he said some of the most corrupt, evil people that you will ever meet in your life is lawyers. And I was like, why you say that? He said, a lot of people think it's such a prestigious job. He said, I would never in a million years, if my daughter brought home a lawyer, I would never in a million years let my daughter date a lawyer. I said, why? He said, I owned a law firm. I think he owned a law firm for 15 plus years. He said he sold that business. He said some of the most corrupt people that you ever meet in your life were lawyers. He said, you talking about breaking the law, but knowing they can get away with it. You talking about guys coming in, sleeping with every girl in the fucking, all the secretaries, doing what the fuck they want, fucking all kinds of shit. And a lot of the times, a lot of guys don't understand this. When you're dealing with a promiscuous woman, the reason that she knows she can even build a case with you is because she's probably already hooking up with a lawyer. She's probably already hooking up with a corrupt lawyer who teaching her shit. You feel me? And the guy who owned this law firm, he said, and some of these people, they are so corrupt, but they look like they well shaven, their hair slicked back the right side, they wear the perfect color suits. He said they look so trustworthy. But me earning the law firm, I seen some of the links that these people will go to win a case, and some of the stuff that they would do. He said, in the stuff they used to do with the women in the office, and how they used to have a wife, but you know, getting their secretaries pregnant and all this stuff. He said some of the most corrupt people that you ever meet in your life. But the way that but he said the thing that make it worse is they look innocent. Imagine a tall white guy, hair slicked back, shaved beard, you know what I mean, and smiling. Like, imagine a Gavin Newsom looking motherfucker. That's how them lawyers be. Imagine somebody that looked like Gavin Newsom. And I thought the dude was lying. And I say, damn, man, all lawyers, because, you know what I mean, all lawyers can't be that bad. He said, you'll be surprised. And then I watched that interview with Judge Joe Brown, the one that he did one with Candace Owens, and he did one Dialogue of Art. I watched both of those interviews. And Judge Joe Brown said the same thing. He said some of the worst people you'll ever meet in your life is lawyers that have been prosecutors their whole life. He said some of the nastiest people. He was talking about Kamala Harris is one of them. But he said lawyers can be some of the nastiest people on this, some of the baddest people on this earth. Because you got to understand, they know the law. You got to understand, the guy that got my real father out of jail, he was my dad's roommate. He got my dad out of jail because he's like, oh, you don't know. He said, my dad did some fucked up shit. Like, you know what I mean? My dad was a gangster for real. He wasn't nothing to play with. My dad had a life sentence. The lawyer looked at his paperwork and said, you shouldn't be serving a life sentence. I can get you out. Got my dad out. My dad is out and free in Jamaica. And I'm glad the lawyer did that. But my dad is out and free in Jamaica. But one of the things my dad told me about that lawyer that he was rooming with, I said, damn, how come he couldn't get himself out? He said, the lawyer said, I fucked up and I acted off of emotions. He said, what you mean? He said, it was a white gentleman. He said, I caught my wife cheating. I snapped. I killed everybody in the house. I killed my wife. And he said, if I would have calmed down and played it smooth, I would have got off if I would have killed her the right way. That's what he told my dad. Isn't that some crazy ass shit? You feel me? But he said, I acted off emotion. I caught her cheating. I killed her. And I can't beat it. You know what I mean? Too much evidence. I just couldn't beat it. You know what I mean? But he said, for you, there's all these loopholes. And he taught my dad the loopholes, and my dad was able to get out. And that's why my dad is free in Jamaica now to this day. So you got to understand that these are some corrupt motherfuckers. You feel me? These are some real corrupt motherfuckers. You know what I'm trying to say? So be prepared when you dealing with women, and when you got money and got status. One of the things I tell guys to do, and this is opposite of what all of these social media guys are doing. All these social media guys are telling, get your money right, get your status, get all this stuff like that. I tell guys, be careful. Even when you got money, be careful with showing that you got money. My mom taught me a long time ago this thing called pole mouth. She talking about even when you got it, act like you don't. One of the things that my mom did not like about my stepdad and does not like about my stepdad was she hated how flashy he was. She would always say that. She would always say, she said, the difference between your stepdad and your real dad really had money like that, because he was in the streets. He was drug dealing. But your real dad was frugal as fuck. Your real dad would buy a fake gold chain instead of buying a real. Even though he can afford the real, he had a hell of a lot of money, stacks of money. He could afford the real gold chain, but he'll buy a fake one, dip it in some clear shit, and that's how he would rock it. Because he thought it was a waste of money to buy the real chain. He thought it was a scam. You feel me? So she said, one thing I loved about your real father is he had it, but he was never on no flashy type shit. He always act like he didn't have it. He always act low key. He said, now your stepdad, he wanna motherfucking act like he the baller, got the rims on the car, she said, that's one of the things I hated about him. I still do. You know what I mean? Even when he tried to pick up my mom, he's like, I pay your rent, because he was so used to, back in the day, he was so used to paying girls rent to hook up with him. So he would leave with money. And a lot of old school guys, that's how my stepdad tried to always teach me. But it just didn't seem right. He said, man, all you gotta do is give a girl a couple dollars, she'll do whatever you want. It never set right with me. You know what I mean? So I didn't like his game. So I never went to my stepdad for game. I always went to my mom. And my mom would say, don't listen to him. You ain't got to pay a bitch shit. You feel me? My mom taught me how bitches really operate. You feel me? So my stepdad always taught me, man, leave with money, leave with money, leave with money. My mom was like, you ain't got to, fuck that bitch. If she want money out of you, fuck her. That's how my mom mindset was. You get what I'm trying to say? So that's what I want to really break into you guys' heads, is like, be careful when you out here dealing with these type of women. And that's why a lot of you niggas just need the CLG. Bro, if you guys was in the CLG community and you had the process, and you're not running into this shit, you're not running into all these fake ass allegations. What's she gonna allegate? What evidence she gonna have? She can't even set you up. And the thing is, when she trying to set you up, you ain't gonna be going for it. When she trying to get you to be aggressive with her, when she trying to get you, me personally, I don't like aggressive sex. It's just not my thing. So, when I get girls all the time, pull my hair, rough me up a little bit, that's just not my thing. You feel me? But you gotta understand, most of you guys ain't gotta worry about this, and I ain't gotta worry about this because I ain't rich on Shannon Sharpe's level. But you also gotta watch out for people that know female nature. Like, I honestly believe Leonardo DiCaprio, I believe he understands female nature. You don't see a lot of bitches coming out against Leonardo DiCaprio. Because at the end of the day, Leonardo DiCaprio understands female nature. He understands women. He ain't falling for that shit. You feel me? Because I guarantee you, if Shannon Sharpe was dealing with this OnlyFans chick and she started trying to say weird shit like, let's film this scene, or let's do a scene that's very aggressive and let's film it, or she trying to get a certain type of text out of you, or she trying to get you on an hour-long phone call, or she trying to do some weird shit with you, like a nigga that careless, I'm not going. Like, if I don't want to talk to you for an hour, I'm not going to do it. You're not going to trick me into a text conversation that I don't want to be a part of. You're not going to fucking trick me into filming me beating your ass if that's not the way I want to fuck you. And you got to understand that, like, when you a guy that moved to the beat of his own drum, like I said, I've turned down more pussy than I've actually got. Because some girls try to take control of the conversation with me and try to take control and try to set it up a certain type of way. Well, I like this and I want to go here. I'm not going for that shit. You feel me? Like, even guys that be getting set up by women, like, bitch, if I'm paying for the date, bitch, I'm going to say something that I want. You feel me? I'm not going to sit here and let you dictate what the fuck we go for the date that I'm taking you out on, you stupid bitch. I'm doing what the fuck I want. I'm telling you where I want to go. And that's what I be teaching niggas in the CLG community. I be like, bruh, text like this, do setup like this. Because at the end of the day, these women can be predatory. Just like, and I'm not saying it's just women, because Charleston White was predatory. He would go into work for massive companies knowing he was looking for a lawsuit, knowing he was there to sue. He would work for that company for 6 months looking for evidence to sue. That is predatory behavior. Women act the same fucking way. You just gotta pick up on it. Like, if a nigga being weird, or if a girl being weird and she being weird with how she gonna meet up with you, and you know what I mean, I'm not gonna meet you until you do a film with me, a violent film, and do shit like that. If she's not gonna do that, if she's not on your time frame, trust me, she is the wrong girl. Now, a lot of you guys ain't gotta worry about this shit because you niggas don't make enough money. Okay, it is what it is. You know what I mean? They can't sue a broke nigga. They ain't gonna get no money out of them. Even the lawyer ain't even gonna take the case. But what's happening is, these girls are premeditated getting all of this evidence, bringing it to this shady ass lawyer who's probably a corrupt piece of shit, and he probably needs to be disbarred. But they bring it to this shady ass lawyer who's gonna help them get what they want, which is money. Whether they hit Shannon Sharpe for the 50 million or whether they settle for 5, all they want is fucking money. And trust me, this girl set it up with her conversations and shit like that with Shannon Sharpe to get enough evidence for them to believe that they have some sort of case, because lawyers don't like to waste their time, especially greedy ass lawyers like this motherfucker. Or unless he's looking at it as an advertisement play, like to advertise to the world, hey, I can get money out of rich black men, or whatever the fuck he trying to do. Because I guess this lawyer came after Shannon Sharpe, Deshaun Watson, Jay-Z, and I always be forgetting all these motherfuckers' names, man. Shannon Sharpe, Deshaun Watson, Jay-Z, and he came after somebody else, but I forgot who the fuck he came after. But it was something with and Andrew Tate. He came after Andrew Tate. So something with a girl. So you gotta understand, this lawyer, he might be trying to do this for publicity, or he might be doing this because these girls really was on some premeditated shit. They really brought him a bunch of evidence, and he feels like he can use that evidence to extract some kind of revenue out of this person. And even if he extracts no revenue out of this person has to spend a lot of money on lawyer fees just to defend themselves against this type of fucking crook. So yes, I wanted to put my 2 cents on this. Yes, women can be fucking evil as fuck. You know what I mean? And I've noticed the 2 type of people that do this type of shit, because like I said, at my dealership, I wasn't looking for that type of shit, but I came from a 2-family household. I noticed the people that tend to do this type of get rich quick, not work type fucking shit is females and guys who was raised by just a female, not a male. Because my stepdad, he would always teach me the hard work. You feel me? He used to always say, a horse that shit fast don't shit long. meaning that you can get the fast money, but it ain't gonna last. You feel me? What you want is you want money that lasts for a long time. You don't want that, you know, hot boy, you up for 2-3 years, now you ain't got nothing to show for it. You feel what I'm trying to say? So my stepdad would preach those kind of values in me. Hard work, you know what I mean, doing things the right way, things like that. You know what I mean? But I noticed the people that try to do that quick get rich type shit, it's usually a female, or it's usually a motherfucker that was raised by just a female. Those the motherfuckers that be trying to get the PPP loans. Those the motherfuckers that be trying to, you feel me? They trying to get something for nothing type shit. They trying to scam the system. They trying to get the free food stamps. And I be telling my niggas that I grew up with in the hood, the ones with the single moms and shit, and I be like, damn man, all that effort that you put into trying to get on the come up, you could have actually motherfucking just worked hard as fuck, stacked up, put shit away, invested into something that's gonna really do something for you. You feel me? Instead of all this effort trying to do a quick get rich quick type shit, you could have really did something with that money. And then when they do hit a lick, basically they hit some, they rip off the government, or they do something, or they do run across the money, they spend it all. Like instantly. I ran across a nigga from the hood. That nigga ran across 60 bands. Nothing to show for it. That nigga was broke 3 months later, bro. That nigga ran across 60 bands, was dead ass broke. And not only did he run across 60 bands, he ran across 60 bands and they gave that nigga a free Corvette. That nigga sold the Corvette and he was dead ass broke 3 months later. I saw that nigga 3 months later. I say, nigga, how? Cause he was in a casino. He hit one of them goddamn them slot machines and he won a Corvette and he won 60 bands. You feel me? And that nigga had to sell the vet. And this is 3 months later, 3 months time. I had a homeboy, a little Asian dude, used to rob banks. He used to rob drug dealers all the time before I got him a job at the Mercedes-Benz dealership. That motherfucker would rob a drug dealer for 30 bands, bro, and be broke the next week. I'd be like, bro, what the fuck did you buy, nigga? Like, that nigga still to this day is in Minnesota. One of my exes, she worked, she didn't know he worked at the building next to her. She worked at the building next to him. She's like, you wouldn't believe who I seen working at this. And that's her second job. She owned a business too. She work at motherfucking Lululemon. So it's like a shopping center. So the shopping center that's next to the Lululemon, that nigga work in the back still, motherfucking moving boxes. After I done got the nigga a job, I done tried to teach the nigga how to make money the right way. He's still looking for some quick hit type shit. But like my stepdad say, a horse that shit fast don't shit long. And you gotta understand, a lot of these OnlyFans bitches, just cause y'all hear about the ones that make money, the ones that actually make money like 100K a month and shit like that, just cause y'all hear about them bitches, some bitches make $1 million a month on OnlyFans, whatever the case is, at least that's what they say, them bitches could be lying. Just cause you hear about that, bro, you can type into ChatGPT right now, the average woman makes less than $1,000 a month on OnlyFans. So they out here selling they pussy, popping they pussy, the average woman makes less than $1,000 a month. Most women make less than $100 a month on OnlyFans. So really, it ain't shit. So you out here fucking selling feet pictures, playing with your pussy, and you ain't making shit. Because at the end of the day, the hardest thing about business is marketing. If you're not a great marketer, it don't matter what type of business you start. If you're not a great marketer, it don't matter what type of motherfucking business you start. You're not going to fucking succeed. So you can be a pretty bitch. Having a pretty face will help you, but then you're not gonna be able to hold on to it for a long ass time unless you know what the fuck you doing, unless you have some kind of business sense. You feel me? So really take all that shit into consideration, man. I do feel sorry for Shannon Sharpe. You know what I mean? He didn't pick up on the signs. I know that girl was, I knew there was some signs this nigga should have picked up with this bitch. It was some way she was moving that a nigga that truly didn't care about the bitch would have cut her ass off. Bitch, you moving foul as fuck. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you on some weird shit. I'd have probably fucked that bitch once or twice. She started doing some weird shit. I'd never talk to that bitch again. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, cause it had to be something. Cause she trying to build evidence. She trying to get a case. And she probably tried to do it with other guys that she hooked up with, but those other guys picked up on it. You feel me? Like the thing about it is, just cause you the victim, that cause she could have went to a lawyer a long time ago and the lawyer had to teach her, hey, if you don't come with this much evidence, we can't help you. Or she probably was fucking a lawyer. That's a lot of the times why girls be suing. Like, even Eminem's mom sued her son, Eminem. Like, you'll be surprised, bro. Some of these women are fucking demons, bro. Like, straight up fucking degenerate fucking demons. They have nothing else better to do with their fucking time. You know, see, with men, most of our time is spent thinking about how to get pussy. What the fuck do you think they thinking about? They ain't, 9 times out of 10, they ain't thinking about shit but how to come up on a nigga. So be careful when you dealing with some of these goddamn women. If a bitch moving foul, like I said, I turned down more pussy than I've got. If a bitch ain't moving to my program and moving a little too foul and I'm trying to set some shit up and she being weird, nah, meet me here. Bitch, I ain't finna meet you there, motherfucker. That shit, bitch, that shit sound like a fucking setup. Like, you feel me? Nah, man, I'm not, I tell her straight up, nah, I ain't in the mood for that. Hey, if you wanna link up with me, this what we gonna link. Type shit. Y'all better be careful fucking with some of these hoes, man. For real, bro. I ain't even bullshitting with you. So, with that being said, man, be safe out there, fellas, man. These modern women crazy as fuck. Especially if she on OnlyFans. Especially if she broke as fuck. Especially if she looking for a fucking come up. Move safe out there, man. And with that being said, I'm out. Peace.